What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another account progression video. Alright, so in this one here we're going to be taking a look at War Tiger. I know it's a little late here, but I'm finally getting around to War Tiger, the last of the Warriors of the Sky. I almost forgot the name of them. Yeah, but the last of the Warriors of the Sky. So let's go ahead and take a look at his build before we jump into a little bit of gameplay here. So all of his skills here are pretty much level 1 except for the 4th and the 5th skill. The 4th skill I have leveled up because we get that all attack and that crit rate buff. Yeah, nothing else on there. The 5th skill I leveled up for the 100% chance to be immune to all damage, because I don't think it started at 100% chance, so that's why I leveled that one up. And also it's going to be the skill that you proc on if you decide to go with the damage proc for War Tiger here. So yeah, it's always okay to get that extra little bit of damage. Let's see, his passive is going to be a constant HP recovery, which is nice, so it'll help out his survivability. His leadership here is just a reduction for skill cooldown, so nothing too crazy. And then his tier 2 passive gives him super armor, which is fantastic, so you don't really have to give him a guard break immunity obelisk. He's got all defense buff there, and then skill damage and bonus damage increase, so not too bad. And it enhances the effect of his passive here, which I think it just changed the amount he recovers. So it was like maybe 1.5, now it's 3%, or maybe it did the percentage when it starts actually working. Maybe it was like 80% before, now it's not below 99% HP. I can't remember, but either way, we do have a 3% constant heal here once we're below 99%, so we're always going to have that heal going on, which is nice. His Isolate set, we have Power of Angry Hulk here. It's not fully awakened. It's not even at stage 6 or whichever it is for the all 6-star ISOs. And then for the obelisk here, we just have a 5-star obelisk, and it is a recovery rate to go with his recovery from his 4-star passive. And then we have some crit damage, and then also a small damage proc here. It's only 110%, but again, I'm just slapping on what I have on War Tiger here because he's not really a character that I'm going to be building up too much or using a lot, but he's still a fun character, so I want to give him a damage proc so I can use him in like Shadowland or things like that if I wanted to just have a little bit of fun, or use him to clear an early stage if I'm going for a kind of how far I can go in Shadowland kind of thing, get the most out of my roster. No uniform, of course. Let's go ahead and take a look at the details here. So the details, we have pretty good attack speed. We're almost maxed out on that. His crit rate is quite low, but we're going to be getting, what was it, 25% from his 4th skill, so we're going to be pretty good on crit rate there. His crit damage is just average, and then the ignore defense and skill cooldown are close enough to cap, so pretty much where we want to be on most of the stats here. If I wanted to build them up a little more, I'd probably focus on the crit rate and crit damage, and then of course his physical attack as well. So yeah, looks like that's it. There's no Uru on him. His gear I have leveled or rolled to skill cooldown, and I think that's everything. So let's go ahead and hop into a little bit of gameplay and see how War Tiger can perform at level 60 here. So I have not got his potential enhanced yet, or well, I can, but I just haven't leveled him up to 70 because I don't think I'm going to be using him that much. But let's hop into the gameplay. Alright, so here we are at Proxima. We're going to go in against Proxima because he is a physical damage dealer. The team I'm using is Crescent's leadership here for 60% physical attack increase, and then we have Coulson's tier 2 passive. We're going to be hopping with no strikers for this first test here. We are doing stage 50 just so I could get a good idea of, 1, if he can do any damage here at level 60, and 2, if he's going to have survivability without any kind of mind control strikers helping him out. So let's see if he can do well for both of those areas. Here we go. I'm going to open up with the 5th skill because that's the one I want to proc on, but of course we do not proc on the 5th skill. So I'm just going to continue with the rotation. I do 2 into 4, and then I try to run away. And then I hop back into the 5th skill, and then there we go. And as you can see, his damage is actually okay, because at level 60 here, with no strikers, oh, that's the thing about his, about using a damage proc on him. You can see his 5th skill was, what, a 9-second, and his 4th skill is like a 10-second, so there's a lot of downtime for your rotation to get out of whack, or for your damage proc to get out of sync. So there we go. And yeah, so that one's a 10-second. So that's generally the rotation I do, and then I kind of just kite around a little bit here, and as you see, the healing is quite nice. It is keeping him topped up. you start to get a little out of sync for the rotation, so sometimes I end up skipping the 4th skill and just kind of kiting around. But as you can see with Proxima, she is really annoying in particularly because she just freaking jumps around. She just keeps dashing backwards, so she cancels out your skill quite easily if you can't keep her locked down. So that's the one thing I don't like about fighting Proxima here. So let's keep going. So as you can see, he is doing damage. Of course, it's not nowhere close to being enough damage to actually clear this stage, but he is doing damage. His survivability is good as long as you don't really get canceled out, but you do get the damage immunity at the start of the 5th skill, which is fantastic. So even if you do get canceled out, I guess you can still recover a little bit. But at this stage here, if you got time frozen or hit by one of those spears and stunned, you're pretty much dead because he can't really take more than like 1 or 2 hits from Proxima. So now let's go ahead and hop in with some mind control strikers. So if we have the mind control strikers here, we can see that's going to be quite a big difference in terms of at least his survivability or his skills actually landing, but that is to be expected. So let's just hop in really quickly here. Come on, load in. There we go. All right, so hop on over. And here we go. So now we'll get her locked down. And then we can have a lot easier time of just doing the skills as they come up and making sure we stick with a Oh! He just started his skill. He got like frozen while he was jumping in the air. That's kind of funny. At least he didn't take away the skill from you or activate it or whatever. Yeah, so you see, of course, a lot easier, but that's to be expected when we have the mind control. The damage, for some reason, looks a little bit worse than before, which I'm not sure why. But here we go. Come on, damage proc. Yeah, a little bit of a damage proc there. Alright, so now we'll move on to the next one. So this is something I wanted to do, which I don't know if you guys want to keep seeing this or not, but like adjusting the strikers. So when I'm like going over a character, kind of I don't know how many different iterations of strikers you would like me to use, but I'm thinking I want to do an iteration where we have no strikers at all, just to get a baseline of 1, their survivability, if they actually really do need mind control strikers just to survive, 2, to see how much damage they can do without all defense down. And then after that, either doing something like I'm doing right now where I put in mind control and then nothing else and see what happens, or I could just switch right to mind control and all defense down strikers. But I was trying out some free to play all defense down strikers and then the kind of pay to win all defense down strikers. So this would be the pay to win iteration right here, because that's a very, very powerful combination. And then the free to play is going to be this combination here. I was trying out Captain America a little bit here. Captain America seems to be only worth it if you're using Weapon Hex. If you're not using Weapon Hex, he doesn't seem to be as useful with like the free to play options here. Iron Hammer is going to be your highest all defense down capper because he gets to minus 50%, which I believe is the highest for free to play all defense down strikers. Correct me if I'm wrong, or for the ones that are when attacking, because I know there's some when hit all defense down free to play that are a little bit higher. I think they're minus 55 at most, or maybe it's minus 60. No, I think it's just 55. But anyway, so now we'll do the kind of pay to win one right here. So let's go ahead and hop in and we can see kind of the insane damage, and then we'll kind of scale it down and show you the free to play kind of options here. So with the kind of premium strikers here for the all defense down, you're going to see that, yeah, it makes a huge difference in War Tiger's damage, which is to be expected, but you don't always see that with every character, so that means he probably has pretty decent base damage here. Did we not even get our damage proc there? I don't know if we did, but oh my gosh, and we get time frozen. Well, it's not a good start to show off how much better these strikers make his damage, but we'll eventually get there once we line up the damage. There we go. So now we're starting to get a little bit of damage here, as you can see. Boom, and now we strike through, and as you can see, the bars are definitely moving a lot quicker. But in testing, my bars were actually moving a little bit faster than this, so this is actually a little bit slow compared to what I saw before when I was trying out the different strikers. But as you can see, it's still miles better, and he can definitely clear this stage with these strikers. So now let's go ahead and move over to the free-to-play strikers. So we're going to take you two out, and then we're going to add you guys in here. And it is better to use two all defense down strikers because it really helps to fill up the all defense down. So, you know, like for example, Iron Hammer here can stack up to minus 50% all defense down, but when he's doing the skill himself, he only applies minus 1% per hit. Luckily, it is his channeling skill, so that minus 1% is going to creep up pretty quickly. But when we throw in Swordmaster here, then also we have his all defense down going in and helping to fill up that minus 50. So it just makes it a lot easier than using just one. Of course, with just one is better than none, but I'm just saying if you have the option to use two, you're going to want to use two instead of just one. So here we go. And yes, Captain America will still work as a free-to-play striker. You're going to have to use the co-op skill method with Captain America to get him to strike in, unless you're getting hit a lot. But overall, he ends up being about the same as using these two strikers in my testing. I was getting to the next phase of Proxima here pretty consistently with either Iron Hammer and Swordmaster or using Iron Hammer and Captain America. They were pretty close to similar, but I just like to not rely on the co-op skills, so I just kind of prefer this method right here. But you can see the damage is still really good. I'm not sure if it's enough to make him clear at this stage. I'd have to kind of get pretty lucky on having the all defense down stacking up to max when I'm using the 5th skill for the damage proc. But overall, War Tiger here is a pretty solid character. He can do World Boss Ultimate if you want him to do that. He's got good survivability with his heal and his damage immunity on the 5th skill, so he doesn't necessarily need mind control strikers. But if you get the all defense down, of course, that makes a huge difference, like with most characters. So overall, I mean, I'm happy with War Tiger here. He's a solid combat physical damage dealer, so if you do need another one of those, he's a good option. Of course, he synergizes well with the other Warriors of the Sky, so if you've already got some of them built, then he could be a good option for you as well. Yeah, so that's going to be my thoughts on War Tiger here. Overall, I do like him, but again, there's so many characters out there that he's just not one that I'm going to build in particular. But if you want to invest in him, I think he can do pretty well for you against Proxima here and also push quite high in Shadowland. And then finally, I'll leave you with the question of the strikers. Do you like the method I used in this video here? Would you prefer me to cut out a few of the steps of the strikers, or just do like go straight to the all defense down free to play and then all defense down kind of paywalk strikers? Or do you want me to do the kind of steps in between here and show each kind of striker variation kind of thing? Or do you just want me to not even bother with the striker variations and just only show the characters off with no strikers at all? So yeah, I'm just curious on what you guys think about the striker situation here, because it seems like Netmarble is kind of wanting to change around the strikers a little bit. So not sure how long this particular method or striker combo will work and that kind of thing. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.